I call to order the meeting of the mayor and the council of the Borough of River Edge, September 12, 2022. It is 6 p.m. We are in Borough Hall. I ask everyone in a moment to stand for a moment of silence for all those who still suffer from the loss of 9/11, to remember those who were lost in 9/11, especially our first responders, our firefighters, our police officers, our emergency response, EMTs and ambulances, as well as all those who worked towards repairing our country, our armed services, our political leaders, and reuniting us and bringing us forth. Please stand. Ms. Apotola, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'm going to make an announcement after the statement of compliance before we go into closed session. I'm going to make it again at the end about Borough Hall and about the meeting on the 29th. Statement of compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act. This meeting complies with the Open Public Meeting Act by notification on January 7th of this location, date, and time to the town news and the record, and by posting of the same on the municipal bulletin board and the borough website, and filing a notice of the same with the municipal clerk. Notice of this meeting via the September 7th, 2022 Sunshine Notice was sent to the town news and record and posted on the municipal bulletin board and borough website. So, Ms. Apotola, please correct me if I make any mistakes. This and the meeting on Thursday, September 29th, will be the last two public meetings that we'll have in person.
Correct.
So for the public who may be watching, the Borough Hall is in desperate need of repair. The original building, there's actually three buildings: the middle building, the rear building, which is the public safety, which is the courtroom, and we have finance downstairs. And then the original building, which is about 100 years old, is in desperate need of repair. And so in order to allow for that repair, we're going to need to close Borough Hall, but not, of course, the police department. But so we're going to be closing the first building. The second building, which we're in right now, which looks like it's all one, will need to be shut down to some degree too, because we'll have to move things out. So we will be going remote for anywhere from 12 to 18 months, starting in October. Our next meeting is September 29th because of, I believe it's Rosh Hashanah, right? And so that's Monday or Tuesday, and then Wednesday is the Land Use Board, and that meeting has been publicly noticed. So that moved the council to Thursday, but I will not be present. The Council President Kaufman, will be in the center chair for the last meeting in this building due to a back-to-school night, because I'm a public school teacher, and so those are one of those things that you must be at. Okay, roll call.
Councilwoman Bastide is absent with prior notice. Councilman Canigo is absent with prior notice. Council President Kaufman?
Here.
Councilwoman Kinsella?
Here.
Councilwoman Malalari is also absent with prior notice. Councilwoman Montesano Cohen?
Here.
Mayor Papaleo?
Here. Okay, so we have a resolution 22-248, a resolution to go into closed session, exclude the public. Closed session docket 22-9/12-1, attorney-client privilege, potential redevelopment area. And then 22-9/12-2, attorney-client privilege, conveyance of a deed. Could I have a motion and a second to go into closed session?
So moved. Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. I call back into session the meeting of the mayor and council, Borough of River Edge, September 12, 2022. The council has moved from open to closed, back to open session. Roll call.
Councilwoman Bastide is absent with prior notice. Councilman Canigo is absent with prior notice. Council President Kaufman?
Here.
Councilwoman Kinsella?
Here.
Councilwoman Malalari is absent with prior notice. Councilwoman Montesano Cohen?
Here.
Mayor Papaleo.
Here. Okay. So I need a motion and a second for approval of minutes.
So moved. Second.
I apologize. I was getting something for the police and I didn't say. So we're gonna have to do that again. I need a motion and a second for approval of minutes of the mayor and council regular meeting of July 11, 2022. Approval of minutes of the mayor and council regular meeting and closed session meeting of August 1st, 2026.
So moved. Second.
And do I need a roll call for this? I don't think I do. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we have a wonderful recognition of our police officers. Call the chief forward. I'm going to turn on this, and hopefully it will work this time. And Chief, what I'm going to do? Did you like to put all the officers up or not? However you want to.
Sure. Come on up, guys. Who wants to come up? Shy.
All right, so from time to time, we're fortunate enough to have a recognition of our officers for the many great things that they do. And what I have here are 2 certificates for these 2 officers from AAA. It dates back to 2020, and we all know why that is, because of COVID. So I'm glad that they finally sent them through, and I'm going to just read off what we have here. First is Officer Matt Petersky. It's for the outstanding dedication and support for your efforts in deterring impaired driving in New Jersey's roads and highways during 2020. And it's called the Recognition of Excellence Award 39450, which is DWI. All right? And they also give you a very cool pin. It's from Matt. Actually jumps in on this, too.
MAD stands for Mothers Against Drug Driving.
Yes, thank you. And the second one is for Officer Gabriel Colucci. And again, it's for the outstanding dedication and support for your efforts deterring impaired driving New Jersey roads and highways in 2020 for Drug Recognition Expert Award, again for 39450, which is DWI from MAD. All right, thank you. And, you know, it's a tough, just add this real quick to this. It is a tough time for policing. These guys are very aggressive. We're lucky to have patrolmen that are out there. They're aggressive at night. They're looking for these DWIs. And I say it's a tough time because, you know, it's not as easy as it used to be to get these convictions. With the legalization of marijuana, it's caused a little bit of headache for us because we're not able to get into the cars like we used to be. And it's not as easy to get a DWI arrest for that. Whether or not the lawmakers knew that when they did it, we know it because we see it on the road. But I have to say, that being said, these guys still go out there and they work hard to get these people off the road. They work hard to get narcotics arrests that we can still get. And I've said to them, where it goes from there, that's not, the courts are not ours. We lock them up, we charge them, and we keep doing that. And that's what they need to do. And it's a little easy to be deterred right now, but they're not. They don't. They go out there and they do a great job. I couldn't be more proud of you guys and the rest of the team of officers that we have. Thanks again.
I also want to thank our 2 officers, our chief, our entire police department for everything they do to keep the people of River Edge safe. But not just the people of River Edge, people of the state of New Jersey and of this region. Removing drunk drivers, removing impaired drivers from the road aggressively keeps our families whole. No one is getting a phone call saying a drunk driver has killed your beloved. So we are really grateful for how hard our police officers work at a personal risk to themselves, because every time there is a stop, especially at night, there is a danger to our officers, and so a personal risk to our officers, and we are grateful for the sacrifice, for the commitment, and for the bravery. So on behalf of the council and the people of River Edge, thank you all.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Congratulations. Oh my God.
Okay, so we have for discussion a couple of things. I'm going to move the scout projects to forward if there's no objection from the council. Great. So we have Andrew and Eagle Scout Project. Is Andrew with us? Come on, Andrew. Come on up. Andrew, sit yourself down, and in a minute I'm going to ask you to state your name and your address. You don't need to give us a street address, the number of the house, but if you do need to give us the street. Okay? Okay, so this is the first of two Eagle Scout projects. Andrew, if you could state your name and address without the house number.
I'm Andrew Capuano.
Pull that close.
I'm Andrew Capuano. Just the street name?
Just the street name.
Okay, I live on Elm.
Elm River Edge, right?
Elm River Edge, yeah.
Very good, Andrew. So, Andrew, we are here and we're excited about your project. Help us to understand it.
Okay. So if you look at the first pages in the packet, it's the cost sheet that explains everything that's on my project, well, that I'm going to be doing for the project. So the top item being the monument. This monument is dedicated to the past, present, and future officers of the River Edge Police Department.
Outstanding.
It's a 3-foot wide by 2-foot high granite monument stone. And it's going to have an inscription on the front of it. This page
Okay?
states exactly what's on the stone on a different type of stone. It's dedicated.
So you're saying this one here.
Yes.
Very good.
It's dedicated to the past, present, and future members of the, what will be River Edge Police Department, and then it'll have a quote on it, "In valor there is hope." And that's it. The bench we're getting donated by a River Edge resident, Chris Tua. He's a master woodworker. It's going to be 6 feet long, and it's going to have a brass plate on it dedicated to fallen officer Sergeant Chris Cheevers.
Okay.
Um,
So something like this, right?
yes,
Very good.
without the wording
Without
on
the
it.
inscription. So go ahead, keep going.
And then we're going to landscape the area a little just to make it, yes, that picture.
Good.
Just to beautify it a little. We're going to have small trees called sky pencils, bobo hydrangeas, which are just to fill up the area, make it look more colorful. Hardy mums, which are mums, they die out like mums, but they come back every year, so we don't have to worry about throwing them out. Boxwood, splintered gem, that'll go in front of the air conditioning unit on the Tenney Ave entrance. Yes, right there. That's where the monument will be. And then on the other picture, it shows the other side. That's where the bench will be.
Okay.
And they're deer-proof too, so you won't have to worry about getting little bites on the plants, which is everywhere now. And then the mulch, that's just to kind of finish it off. That will be just to make it look nicer. On the page, which says Koch Monument,
Yeah.
this is the drawn up stone that we're going to be getting.
Mm-hmm.
It's jet black, so it looks nice, and it's going to weigh approximately 900 pounds. So we're going to have a concrete base on it. So we're going to need a crane to lift it in. Yes. And it's not like a crane, it's like a crane truck. So
Yeah.
that's it. And then on the front here, the second page in the packet is my letter. This will be going out to pretty much every business, municipality, fire department, police department within our area, reaching out as far as Pagoda
Mm-hmm.
and in our town. it pretty much just states my scouting career, what I've done in scouting, how I came across the project, and then if people would like to donate, it has a Venmo QR code on the bottom, or they could email me to get my mailing instructions.
Excellent. So, Andrew, you've done a very good job of presenting the project itself, but tell us a little bit what inspired you to do this. Also, I know you've been working with the chief. Talk a little bit about that. So, for the record, people can understand why you chose to do this and the support you've gotten from our chief, which I know is substantial.
So my cousin is Matt Petersky. He just received an award.
Yeah.
I believe Chris Cheevers was his training officer. So when he passed, it took a toll on him.
Yeah.
And I know how important he was to Matt and to all the other officers on the River Edge Police Department. So that inspired me to kind of make the area dedicated to him.
I think that's beautiful. I think that's beautiful. And the chief has been working with you. I think you've had a couple of meetings.
Yes.
That's wonderful. And I believe the PBA is in full support.
Yes.
So I think what you're looking for is permission to place it.
Yes. Permission to work on the grounds of the town over here.
Okay, so I now open this up to the council for questions, comments, whatever you'd like to say. We'll go to our council president.
Sounds great to me.
Thank you.
Bonsoir. Great job.
Thank you.
Yes, great presentation. Thank you. It's a great idea.
So I think this is a great thing to do. As I said, our police officers, they keep us safe, and they put themselves at risk always. And so it's wonderful for us to acknowledge them in this way, especially here right next to the borough. Now, the question I do want to ask is, we're going to be having some construction, and this is our business administrator, Ms. Apertola, and you're going to need to coordinate with her because we have to repair the original 100-year-old building, which is the front part of so we're in the middle part. This is another building, and then we have the police department, which is back. So, so you have to coordinate that because we don't want you to put this in, and because of heavy equipment coming in and out, it getting damaged. And also, there may be a question of timing because the site will be an active construction site. So, could I have a motion and second to approve? Andrew, say your last name for me again.
Capuana.
Andrew Capuana.
Capuana. Yes.
Eagle Scout project from Troop 184.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, Andrew, we're thrilled. Congratulations. Come on. Great job.
Thank you for your work.
Great job.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, now we have Ryan Liu, and if he could come forward, that'd be great.
What's up, Jason?
Cool. Hey, Ryan.
Hello.
So give us a moment. Let's just, okay, Ryan, so I want you to say your full name and your address, including River Edge, but don't say the number of your house, okay? Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Ryan too, and I live on Vanson Drive, River Edge.
Good. So Ryan, tell us what you're thinking about doing, why you're thinking about doing it, and, give us some information.
So I'm thinking about building about 3 picnic benches and an informational kiosk by the KBG park next to the Hackensack River and the boat launch. And the reason why I'm doing it is to give the town an extra hangout spot, I guess, so that they can appreciate the river more and also utilize it during the softball games or going kayaking, getting in and out of the river. And also the informational kiosk is for educational purposes to teach people about the river and keeping the area clean from pollution and yeah.
That's great. That's great. So talk a little bit about, I believe you've been working with our superintendent, Mr. Melito, and talk about that and how this is going to be funded and anything else you want to add. Go ahead.
So I've been working with Mr. Melito, the superintendent, for a while on this project. And he was he was telling me about how all the, I guess, like the area, how like it should be good as long as like I get approval, and like for the benches and the kiosk, since there's like flooding around the area, they'll be able to chain the benches to the trees. He's also given me like insight on like what kind of wood to use, like the pressure treated wood.
Yeah.
And he'll be able to like clean the benches like yearly, like power washing them.
Good. Now, just for the public's benefit, are you building the benches, or are you having someone build the benches, or are you buying the benches?
We're building the benches.
And who's we?
So I'm gonna like recruit the troop, I guess.
Which is great. It becomes the whole troop's Eagle Scout project, which is fun. Keep going.
And the funding, I'm either going to be doing like a bake sale or like a fundraiser with like Krispy Kreme or like a store like that.
Sounds great.
And I'm trying to keep the budget around 1,000, under
Okay.
1,000. So
Excellent. So let me open this up to the council. Council President, any questions or comments?
I guess the only question I have is, does the new Superfund designation control what we can do there at all, or not?
I don't see why not, and again,
Okay.
these aren't affixed to the ground, they're movable.
Okay, just thought I'd ask. Sounds good.
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen?
No, it's a great idea. So you work with Mr. Melito for the type of wood, so it would last and all that with the flooding. Very nice. Great.
Councilwoman Kinsella?
Great idea, and would the kiosk just be about the Hackensack River and the history of it? Okay, great.
Excellent. So could I have, it appears the council is in agreement, so could I have a motion and second to grant for Ryan 2 Eagle Scout project from Troop 184?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstain? All right. Scout.
Good job, Ryan. Good job, Ryan.
All right. So if you wish to stay and watch us continue with the business of the borough, it's very interesting. It's great. If you don't, feel free to leave at this point. Our next item is vegetation collection, and I think we're going to need our superintendent to come up to talk a little bit about that. So we're going to start with vegetation collection, okay? So do you need to set the stage or anything you want to,
Just a brief overview, this year was a bit of an anomaly with vegetation collection, so Mr. Melito worked with our garbage contractor, Galaxy, and came up with a way to split the collection into 2 days a week by dividing the town in half, and this is just a proactive meeting to address the matter and any potential questions or concerns.
okay. Mr. Melito, our superintendent of public works.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Giordano reached out to us about a month ago to meet up with the mayor and council to go over a lot of the problems that was this year in vegetation and in garbage. Due to a lot of reasons, which we've all been through, I'll let Mr. Giordano talk about them. A lot of concern has been brought on Galaxy if they could do the job, from residents to this own governing body. So he wanted to sit and pretty much go over those concerns and pretty much tell you what the solutions are moving forward for next year, especially when we get into vegetation season again. So,
Mr. Giordano, if you could say your full name and your organization, you don't need to say your address, and then feel free.
Yes, I'm Gary Giordano Jr. My father apologizes, my uncle as well. We're a family business. I'm able to speak on all business matters related to the company. We're Joseph Smikowski / Galaxy Karting, located in Jersey City. We are your hauler for vegetative waste, garbage, and I believe recycling. You're your own recycling.
So, go ahead.
I was actually just sent on over, as Jason spoke of, that we just wanted to reach out and come and formally speak with you on a few of the issues that were happening with the garbage-related services, well, the vegetative waste, I'm sorry, the vegetative waste collection, the grass collection.
So I believe you've had some equipment breakdown, older equipment, and some personnel shortages.
Yes,
So if
unfortunately.
you could just address that
Yes.
for the public record.
Unfortunately, we were able to make it through the whole COVID, era, the 2 years of COVID, with a little to few hiccups here and there with drivers, and but with the new outbreak that has been out, unfortunately, we have been hit very hard in recent months. It's been actually harder for us, as I was explaining to Jason, to get the lifters on the back of the truck is easier than getting a CDL driver at the moment. Nobody, as you are aware.
So let me stop there. For the public's benefit, CDL driver means commercial licensed driver, and that is a higher and more difficult license to get, and therefore not as many individuals would have that. And
Correct.
that would be a personnel issue that you've been having.
Correct.
Keep going.
With the way of the world, not to get into craziness, it's hard to find work in general at the moment, and those salaries demand a different type of salary. So guys are coming down and trying to set different precedents and making their own, standard for that is pricing pretty much not just my company, a lot of our people into a corner, if that makes sense. They're coming in, they want $50 an hour to drive these vehicles, which is absolutely absurd, So that was our first hiccup, unfortunately. We did get strict with quite a few people with COVID, so we had to move around some crews from other townships that we deal with, municipalities that we deal with. I've had to bring those drivers up and have them back into here and learn this route and re-go over everything here. So that was another end of the hiccup ends of it that we just wanted to address for you. And as far as the equipment, we do have some older vehicles. Most newer vehicles we're still working on getting in. But as Jason will tell you, we can't even get metal ordered within 3-4 months right now. Everything is just so backed up and hectic that we've been working on newer vehicles, newer equipment, some more stuff that could help alleviate the problems in the township. And it's been quite a headache at the moment getting other materials in for us to help you.
Excellent. Now, I believe that there was also a hiccup where some of your drivers were picking up vegetative collections in the garbage vehicle, and we have two different rates for that.
Yes, everything has been.
I believe that you've corrected that. So if you
Everything
could just
has been
speak to that for
corrected
the
on that
public's
end.
benefit.
It seems like when we had the other crews in, those temporary crews that I was just speaking of, that, again, on our end, they were unaware of, a few things, and we had misses. They were thinking that they were doing the right thing for the township. Blended in is a word that we would use more, which has been corrected. All of our drivers and crews sign a handbook when they're hired, knowing that they're not allowed to touch or do anything pertaining to that without coming to us first, so that there is a record of it. It has been corrected since going forward, and if it is noticed or seen by anybody, please contact us directly, and they will be reprimanded on site, on location in your township, because that is not supported by us or our company.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add before I open it to the council?
Just a few things we were working on. Jason works directly with my uncle, more so for this township. I know that they were working on a few things, putting in districts to make it a little bit easier for us, broken down to maybe like 6 districts in case there was an issue that day on, say, a Monday, and you call Gary, and I think that we're just in the town, and you're like, well, what streets are done or what's done already or accomplished to alleviate some of that headaches. Maybe if it's broken down into like 6 districts, we'll say, well, the truck made it already through District 1 or 2, and the incident happened in 3, and we'll get a recovery vehicle by for you for that district to wind up clearing everything out of that zone for you and all going forward through there.
So, Jason, we're taking the 8 voting districts, and you're reworking them into 6 vegetative districts? Is that what's going on?
No, Mayor. What he's trying to say is there's 3 to 4 there's 2 districts in District 1, 3 districts in District 2, and 3 districts in District 3. What he's trying to say is when he's in District 1, he'll finish when he's in Section 1, he'll finish District 1 before moving to District 2, then leaving town. So what happens is if he breaks down in District 1 that day, he knows only District 2 needs to be picked up. So when we do notification, we could just tell him District 2 was not the only one that wasn't picked up. Instead of cutting all of the districts as he's driving through, he's doing it from district to district in that section. It's still going to be broken down to 3 sections, man.
So it's much more organized.
Yes.
Now, what are we doing to make sure that the public knows the new dates and when it's coming? And
The
What
dates have
happens
not-
if it doesn't happen on the dates?
The dates do not change. Nothing's changing from the actual, there's 2 districts in Section 1, 3 districts in Section 2, 3 districts in Section 3.
And that's
All
our
he's-
8 voting districts.
Yes, and all he's doing is, in that district, or in that area, he's only doing the district by district. So 1, 2, instead of cutting through half of 1, coming back, going to 2, coming back through 1.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So the public should be reassured that we're maintaining the same schedule, correct? As we published back in January.
Yes.
But what you're doing on your end is internally changing the routes so that if we do have a failure, we know what has and has not been done.
Yes, so we can put out the proper notification.
And are nixles going out when this occurs so that the public should know to leave their vegetative or garbage out?
Yes, nixles go out, and it does go on the borough webpage, too.
Excellent. And before I open it to the council, Ms. Apertola, do you wish to offer anything else?
How I started this conversation off, this year was an anomaly with personnel issues, supply chain issues, and whatnot. But I also want to highlight that last year, when this town was impacted by Hurricane Ida, you know, we have a great working relationship. We work together, and Mr. Giordano's family arranged for extra bulk pickups to help out, you know, the residents who had been impacted with flooded materials that had to just rip up their carpeting, their furniture, and whatnot. So, you know, we have a great working relationship, and they extended themselves and their service to help out the residents in a time of need.
Yes, and I want to comment on that too. I thought Galaxy would be the appropriate.
That's fine, yes.
Galaxy has done a great job with that. We really appreciate when we're in trouble that you guys respond. And I think, Jason, would you characterize the relationship between you and his and the uncle to be a positive one, and that's been very productive?
Yes, Mayor. They've been very positive. It's been very positive, and they've been very catering to us. Like if one little section's been missed, they ride the whole section the following day. So they do come back. They do make sure they're in town. If they miss anything or get any complaints, or we get any complaints, they're here the next day, first thing, to make sure it's picked up. Also, this year, I just want everybody to know, there is a lead guy that is in this town. Ralph, his name's Ralph. He does a very good job. He was out for a while on medical leave. So now he's back, and as you can see, it's sort of turning the corner. He makes sure both routes get done, the garbage and vegetation, before he leaves at the end of the night.
I'm glad to hear that, because a lot of our residents were very concerned. We've heard from them, and so this is very reassuring that you've come down and that you vouched for the changes, and that our BA, our business administrators, talked about the accommodations you have made for us in the past when we were in need.
The other thing, Mayor, is that I just want everybody to know, garbage goes from 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 at night.
Yeah, most people don't realize
So
that.
a lot of people, if it's not picked up by 2 o'clock or 12 o'clock, it doesn't mean it's not going to be picked up.
No, our contract actually says, and I believe 8 to 8 is a standard contract.
It's 12 hours, yeah. It's the noise ordinance, pretty much. So they do come in, and if it's not picked up by 3 o'clock, it's not that it's not being picked up. You should call, yes, if it's not normal, but they do have until 8 o'clock to get there. So, and it is, you should put it out the day before, too.
Correct.
Unless there's a snowstorm or a hurricane coming. No. Keep it behind your house. So, all right.
Anyone from council wish to make a comment or ask a question?
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. This is not what we normally do, but I know this is a public issue. Is any member of the, with the council's permission, can we do a quick open to the public? Could I have a motion and second?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Would any member of public like to make a comment or ask a question while we have Galaxy here? Yeah, absolutely. Say your name and address.
Sure. My name is Debbie Bailey. I live on Madison Avenue in River Edge. I want to say thank you. I can't praise you guys enough with picking up vegetation and garbage. Anytime I have it out there, it's picked up. I've never had a complaint. coming here tonight, I'm shocked that there's like complaints because your guys are truly amazing. They have helped me when I'm trying to pull out grass at the last minute. They come to take my grass and bring it out and put it back. Like, they're fantastic. I have only praises for that, you guys, so I want to say thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Daly. Anybody else? Good. All right, then. Can I have a motion and a second to close the public on this matter?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Two, have a good night.
Can I have a word, please? I'm here for two Kimberly Way
That's next.
violation.
That's next.
Oh,
You're on the
Have a
agenda.
good night.
Okay, we have for discussion, notice of violation appeal to Kimberly
Yeah.
Way.
Just in case.
Okay? You can come forward and please be seated. State your full name and your address is already part of the
I
record.
have two copies, I'm sorry, my printer.
It's okay.
No problem.
Minutes. So these are pictures of the tree that I have in my property. So it's a town tree. And my name is Linda Actemir, and that's my husband, Abraham Actemir.
Yes?
We live at Kimberly Way since '84.
Yeah?
And we are being violated. This is the first time because so we live at since '84, and our sidewalk has been maintained by the town, and it have been repaired till now. This is the first time it happens.
So what is it that you would like for us to consider?
For the town to remove the tree and fix there. I have a sewer there. There's electric there.
Okay.
It's a huge problem, and it's leaning to my side. So
So we spoke on the phone, and I
Yes.
spoke to Mr. Sarlo. Mr. Sarlo, correct me if I make any mistake, but state statute makes it clear that the sidewalk is responsibility of the resident, and we have a commission, and I spoke to you on the phone, and I asked you if you had gone before the commission to ask for the tree to be removed. Originally, you said yes, but then upon further discussion, what it was you had asked the commission to come and determine whether the tree was living or dead. Commission did. I then spoke to the chair of the commission, Liz Stewart, and I asked her if she had been there, and she said yes. And I said, did you make it clear to the resident that if they want to remove a healthy tree, that because we have a commission, which protects the borough in questions of liability, you would have to go to them, that we do not have jurisdiction. Mr. Sarlo, am I essentially correct in all that?
With regard to trees, yes, that's correct.
the
The
tree,
trees
yes,
are-
but it's a public sidewalk.
Yeah, but
It's a tree that town put.
understood. I understand your argument. And although it's a public sidewalk, the ordinance says that the homeowner, just as you shovel the public sidewalk, right? You have to maintain that sidewalk. And if the ordinance reads, if there's a violation based on the sidewalk, the owner has to fix it. If you don't repair it and the borough repairs it, they could put a lien on your taxes and get it paid, reimbursed through that. So I understand it's a public sidewalk, but it's maintained by the homeowner, just as we don't
I
shovel streets.
understand. I have not purposely or tried to break the sidewalk. It's a natural disaster, like, it's a tree that I didn't go there and I didn't raise up the sidewalk.
I know. It was raised
Purposely.
by the tree. Gotcha. And the tree is, again, under, as the mayor's indicated, it's under the jurisdiction of the Shade Tree Commission. And they make that determination whether the tree is diseased, can be fixed or not, or can be removed or not. And, I understand your issue. Even if you fix this, any contractor's going to say it's being raised by the branches. We're going to need to probably cut the branches to put the sidewalk in, because if we put a sidewalk in, it's just going to lift back up. And that's the battle that we always have here with the
Yes,
trees.
in their website, Shade Tree, it says if you start cutting the roots, it's not a problem it's not gonna solve for long term. It's not how do you say? It's not a fix. You need to remove the tree, I guess. You can see it on their website.
Yeah, I'm not a tree
So,
expert.
so as I said to you on the phone, council does not have jurisdiction at this point. You haven't gone before the commission. You have to go before the commission. Now, if the commission should say no, we could then direct the DPW as a public safety issue to correct it, and then we would, of course, charge you for that cost if you couldn't get a contractor to do it. And that this statute is based on the state, this ordinance is based on the state statute. Is that correct, Mr.?
Yes, that's correct.
So what we're talking about is not something unique to River Edge. It's not even unique to Bergen County. This is the way it is for the entire state. And so if you have not yet gone to Shade Tree, which is what I told you last time, you have to go to their meeting. Now, I was the liaison for Shade Tree Commission before I became mayor, and there were residents that came before them, presented a case, and the Shade Tree did decide to take down healthy trees. I was physically there during those times, and at other times, they chose not to. Now, there may be some corrections we need to do in our ordinance in regard to appeals, but right now, the council doesn't really have the authority to grant your request, because your request is to take down the tree.
Yeah,
And the
they
tree
have
is a healthy
meeting on the
tree.
15th, I'm sorry.
You do have it.
Yes.
And so what we would need for you to do is to go to that meeting and then let us know what the outcome is. And then of course, Mr. Sarlo could advise us on what we would do next. But as of this point, the cart's before the horse. You have to go before the commission, because we do have a commission, and that commission does
Yes.
protect us against liability.
I spoke to them and they told me to curve the sidewalk. So how I'm gonna curve the sidewalk when it's raised?
Okay, so this also is not unusual. Again, as liaison, I know this for a fact. I'm an eyewitness that people have come and said, you know, can I shave the roots? Shade Tree has said absolutely. They got a contractor. They lift the sidewalk. They shave it down, usually whatever they're going to use. I don't know, chainsaws, whatever they're going to do, and then they lay the slab back down. And that has been the practice in River Edge and in the state of New Jersey. And again, if we were forced to do it, we would have to tax you for that, because this is public funds we have put in the sidewalk originally, but the state statute and our ordinance are in agreement that this is the responsibility of the resident. Or am I mistaken?
No, you're correct.
I'm a taxpayer since '84. You should have the funds, and you should also trim the tree well. I mean, it's only trimmed from one side. You can see at the pictures, it's leaning to my house.
So again, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Sarlo, the statute states and ordinance state that at your property line, you are free to trim up. So you are free to trim that tree as it crosses your property line.
I have to ask the shade tree to trim the.
Now, Mr. Sarlo?
Yeah, no, so if your neighbor's tree, if you have a neighbor, your neighbor has a tree and it goes up, and the branches are coming over onto your side, onto your property, you have the ability to trim those branches. So if this tree, which is on borough property, correct? But those branches are over onto your property, you'd have the ability to trim the branches that are encroaching on your property.
What am I gonna do if the tree falls? How can you give me a promise that it's not gonna fall?
You're asking for a hypothetical that I can't answer.
I have a picture of my neighbor's tree next to it that fell and did a huge damage for a lot of town residents. And I also spoke to John Greco, like I told Mayor, he lives on the corner on the 5th. He told me, I went to speak to him and I asked him who did the sidewalk, and he said, the town did it. How about your tree? He said the town took it down without asking me. And
So you're gonna go in front of the shade tree, and they're gonna, if they haven't already, inspect the tree and see if it's a danger, if it's disease or it's a danger of falling down. They'll make that determination. I asked the mayor that since you're in front of us, shade tree should give the mayor and council a report of that hearing that you have with them, because you may come back in front of us, and they'll at least have the findings of the shade tree, and you're meeting with them, okay?
Sorry, I got sued, but because of the law, residential owners are protected by common law sidewalk immunity. So that should also cover it, no?
You were sued and they found that because you're a residential and this is a natural state, you were not liable, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a public sidewalk.
I understand, but again, the ordinance says, we'll go back to what I initially said, the ordinance says you're responsible for the maintenance of the sidewalk.
I didn't
Same
put
with
it there.
just cleaning it, right? We have an ordinance that you have to remove snow within 24, 48 hours, whatever it is offhand. It's the homeowner's responsibility of it. So the town is responsible, although they own the sidewalk, they're responsible from curb to curb, all right?
Yes.
Anything after the curb, it now becomes the homeowner's responsibility to maintain.
And that's not just River Edge, that's all through the state of New Jersey. And in fact, I think it's pretty standard across the country.
So understand, the borough tree has lifted up your sidewalk, and now you are responsible for repairing that sidewalk as a result of the borough tree. Understand that. And you want to get the tree down because you feel it's maybe a danger. That's where the shade tree comes in. The mayor and council has no jurisdiction on that. The shade tree will make that determination.
Did you see, there's a sewer there, it's covered by the roots. Isn't that a danger? I mean, if the tree falls, it's gonna lift up everything.
That I don't know.
It's
That
very
would be up to the
close. If you
engineer.
allow me, I will show you to you. It's in the picture there.
But-
It's covered, it
But
should be
at
maintained.
this point, as I explained to you on the phone, this is a matter for Shade Tree. I mean, and after you're done with Shade Tree, then if you'd like to come back, and we will review the report and have our borough attorney review the report. But what we're stating is we're all homeowners here. We all have the same situation. I live on Manning Avenue, others live, and there are borough trees. And this is not just River Edge, this is the United States of America. This is pretty much how it goes. So right now, we don't have jurisdiction. So what I'm going to rule is that you need to go to Shade Tree.
I am going.
And then come back to us, because you can continue to restate your position, which is admirable.
Yeah.
But we do have other business we need to take care of, and we don't have jurisdiction as of yet.
It's hazardous, you know?
Take a look at it if you want to see if this was in a dangerous condition.
Yeah,
Since you raised it, yeah.
so why don't we do that? We're going to have our borough engineer, if you could arrange that, Ms. Apertola, to take a look to see if
Just the
this,
sewer.
just the sewer.
The engineer look at the sewer. Since you raised the issue that you think the sewer may be compromised as a result of the tree, that becomes an engineering issue, okay? So we'll have the engineer go out and take a look to see if the sewer is by any means compromised as a result of these roots. And if that's the case, that could be a game changer. But if he says no, then we've addressed that concern also.
Okay, how would you promise me?
No, I'm sorry. I have to stop you. I appreciate your diligence and, but we don't have jurisdiction. We're not going to make any promises. You need to go to Shade Tree, and then if you wish to come back, feel free to. And we thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. Thank you for listening to me.
Okay.
Okay.
So our next is, we actually are going to now look at Chapter 384. I hope the council has a chance to read the packet. Mr. Sarlo has done an excellent memo, and he recommends some changes to our code, and that's in our packet, so hopefully the council has had a chance. Mr. Sarlo, if you could just summarize that.
Yeah, and I will just preface by saying I'd like to go back and look at it since this memo is 2015. And as you can see, this issue's been around for many mayors and councils, and it's a really difficult issue to address. So right now, again, I give you the ordinances. You're not responsible for, you're only and the state ordinance, as I just indicated, curb to curb, not responsible for the sidewalk. However, if you do, right now, initiate a violation on a sidewalk and the homeowner does not repair it, now it falls upon the borough to make those repairs. So it may be something you may want to change, that you don't put it specifically on you and you can keep it on the homeowner with potential, fine. So it's a 2015. I'm sure my recommendations of updating the ordinance are still sufficient, but if you're good with these potential changes, I can draft a model ordinance for you guys to take a look at.
So I think that that's where we want to go.
Yes.
Because it continues to protect the taxpayers, therefore the liability question, because we do not want to expose the town as a whole to any sort of litigation. And it also, I think, clears up some vagueness in our ordinance and makes us, I think, more consistent with the state statute.
Yeah, and again, this only addresses the fixing the repair of the sidewalks.
Yeah.
It doesn't, unfortunately, the overall raised sidewalks as a result of a tree, that shade tree has jurisdiction under, again.
So, Mr. Sarl, if you want to look into that and do an internal memo on that. But again, what we have to balance is what we want to do out of compassion versus what kind of burden we're going to create on the residency, the taxpayers. We can't be doing, we can't in River Edge do something that no other municipality in the state of New Jersey is doing, and therefore expect the taxpayers to carry the burden. These issues happen everywhere in the United States and certainly in New Jersey. And as a homeowner, I know that, if the sidewalk starts coming up, I have to make sure that I fix it.
And you're only right now was with the CO, right? If there's a sale, if there's a raised sidewalk, it becomes part of getting the homeowner or the seller obtaining a CO has to make those repairs. I believe I sent you guys a while ago a case out of Hasbrook Heights where the borough was responsible, but they didn't follow through. They indicated it was a dangerous condition. They put it as part of the CO, but didn't follow through with it. And then issued the CO anyway, and it became the borough's responsibility.
So, if I'm not mistaken, Ms. Apertola, our building department does not release the CO until the sidewalks are repaired. At least that's what all the real estate agents are telling me when I speak to them. No. Okay. So, Mr. Sarlo is going to develop a.
With these changes.
Yeah.
I'll take a look.
And he's going to look at that. Have a conversation with Mr. Melito, and then.
I think overall you need to have a conversation with Shade Tree. You've had it over the years. Again, going back to 2015, I remember sitting here, and right, you were a part of it with Shade Tree, and just kind of coming up with some ideas on how to help homeowners and fix these problems, or be a little bit more as to, yes, you can shave the roots of the tree without impacting the tree, so they can fix those sidewalks. Because it is a dangerous condition, no matter whose liability it's on. Not a dangerous condition, but it becomes you don't want no one getting hurt, even though we have no liability, until it becomes an aesthetic thing, right?
And I'll say this, I'm the current liaison to the Shade Tree. Prior was the mayor, and I see this on every meeting almost. I think there is an opportunity here to address the vagueness of the ordinance in response not only to what their obligations are, where the limitations are, where we come in, where the DPW come in. I think there is an opportunity to clarify that with some belts and suspenders that I think, if I put my legal cap on, is completely missing from the ordinance.
And so that's where I want Mr. Melito and you to have conversations with Mr. Sarlo, and maybe Mr. Sarlo can come up with some language to amend the ordinance while maintaining the commission, so that we maintain the liability that the town so well deserves and needs.
The commission's powers, unfortunately, are through state statutes. It's kind of hard for us to do anything with that. But we'll come up with some
even
ideas.
if you chose the appeal process that you suggested as well, that could be worked on, I think.
Okay. All right, great. Debt analysis. Are you speaking to that?
I can.
Or Lizette, do you want to introduce that?
Yeah, I'll introduce it initially.
Okay.
Emphasis on initially. The Finance Committee met about a week or so ago to discuss the debt policy because, as the CFO had mentioned, and he had a prior engagement, could not be here tonight, but if there are any follow-up questions, he could be here at the next meeting. That based on the infrastructure needs of the borough, whether it is streets, retaining walls that are borough property, or buildings, we are borrowing at a greater rate than what we're paying down. And the borough has a self-imposed strict debt policy to not be greater than 1% of the average equalized value of homes. The state authorizes municipalities to go up to 3.5%, 3.5% over the average of the last 3 years. So, however, based on additional needs, such as the Borough Hall renovation, our police department...
Well, it's not a renovation, it's a repair.
A repair. I'm just reading what was written here. A repair. Police department roof repair and air conditioning replacements that are over 20 years old. We have this emergency failure on an Oak Ditch retaining wall on Valley Road. Anything other that may come up. Also, we could discuss as part of here or under old business, the Voorhees Drainage Project. We do need to adopt a bond ordinance for the balance. However, we cannot do so based on the current debt policy of 1%. Plus, we are in, right now, an economic environment of very high inflation for no one knows how long. Supply chain issues, all of these issues that we're not alone in facing. So what the committee has decided is not to do away with the debt policy as a whole and revert back to what other municipalities across the state rely on, of the 3.5%. But if we raise the debt policy to 1.5%, based on these current issues that we are facing, plus a projection of an average $2 million for future capital improvements, again, includes roads, ADA improvements, things that that have a life expectancy of at least 5 years. Based on these projections, we can do it under 1.5% and still be conservative as compared to our neighbors.
So we'd be still 2% under what every other town in the state can do that has not adopted such a conservative policy.
Correct.
Yes.
So, Council President is also the Finance Chair, so if you'd like to speak to that a little bit.
I think it's prudent, and I think it's still very, very conservative to raise the policy from 1% of equalized valuation to 1.5%. We do have a lot of infrastructure that has to be maintained in town. Inflation is higher now, as Lisette Apertola said, and we really need to do this to continue to maintain the town properly. So I think 1.5 is fine.
And I may add that the options before us are either to increase the debt policy or increase the debt payments in the operating budget, which impacts the tax bill immediately.
And much more so
Yes.
than doing it as a capital.
Which isn't prudent or responsible,
Right.
in my opinion.
Right.
I don't know if the council has a different opinion. So what we're talking about is moving, is still 2% under what our neighbors do. So this is a self-imposed control, which is not required by the state, much lower than the state allows every other municipality, because we want to be fiscally responsible.
Right.
Councilwoman Kinsella, Councilwoman Monsanto Cohen, do you wish to make comment?
No, I totally agree. This is out of necessity. This dates back to 2012. We remain under the threshold that is, by statute, what is required, and we're only moving at 1.5. You give us the opportunity to address the rising costs and everything that we have in front of us.
Councilwoman Kinsella?
I concur. It's a necessity at this stage.
All right, so I believe we have a resolution to allow that?
We do not have one in this packet.
Mhm.
I need to speak with the CFO, what type of language. I didn't want to put something simplistic together if we needed to put more details. And I am not a CFO, nor do I even try to pretend to be one.
A day without math is like a day without sunshine.
So I'll work with him to get a resolution to amend the debt policy with whatever appropriate language he deems necessary for the next meeting.
All
And then we would be able to move forward
with our projects.
So the council's in agreement that this should take place?
Yes.
No opposition. Okay, very, very good. Okay, so now we have before us approved the request from the Bergen County Historic Society to place a banner at the corner of Main Street and Kinderkamack for a 2-week period to promote the Barron Fest event of September 24, 2021. I think it's a good idea.
I think it's a good idea. I'm just hoping we could find a spot for the farmer's market sign, because that's still going on.
But even if we had to take it down for 2 weeks and put it back up, I don't think that, because we do have a spot for the sign in the park.
We do.
We are advertising it on Facebook. People have gotten kind of used to it.
Okay.
I agree with you. I don't want to lose the momentum, but if we had to replace it, would you be okay with that for a period of 2 weeks?
Could
Can we
we
not
look
put
into
both?
the opportunity to see if both can work?
Oh, absolutely, but I'm saying if.
But let's just do that first, and if,
Absolutely.
then we'll can consider that, but.
Well, we have to make the decision
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
so we're giving direction is what we're doing.
Well, you could possibly put it on top of the farmer's market sign. If it's the same size, I'm thinking.
You're saying there's a frame there already
Yeah.
that's the signs
that's
go
already,
on.
okay, so I- I'd say try to
So-
put both on if we can.
I agree,
Yeah.
that is our primary desire, but is the council in agreement that if that's not possible, we could give them this sign for 2 weeks?
Sure.
I mean, if you don't, it's your call. I'm just simply saying that,
It would be great if we could find another spot for the farmer's market sign during the 2-week period.
That'd be great, too.
If that's possible.
I think we can talk to Jason and see what's
Yeah.
available.
Okay, so it's council's agreement that that's our general direction. All right, so we move forward. H, approve the request from the Bergen County Historical Society to waive a portion of the police outside duty rate for the Barron Fest event of September 24th. Ms. Apropolo, would you, just for the public's benefit, explain what that really means?
What it means is we have a police outside duty rate for traffic control measures as a matter of public safety. And it usually goes with a certain cost, and anytime any resident or organization wishes to appeal that cost, it has to go before the governing body. There's not just a blanket approval by any one individual.
Okay, and now we're not removing all the costs, we're just reducing it to its bare minimum. We're reducing it to the
Yeah.
wage of the officer who actually is there.
Yes, they're saying any type of compromise, so yes.
So what we've done in the past is we've waived it. Have we ever completely waived it?
Last year, it was not waived. I don't know about beforehand, before my tenure here.
All right, so we're considering whether we want to waive it or not. So we would not waive it. We could completely waive it, which would then be a burden on the taxpayer. Or what we could do is reduce it to the rate of the officer who, so that we are compensated in like.
That sounds reasonable.
Well, which you have to actually say it.
Reducing it to the regular rate.
What does the rest of the council feel?
I'm okay with reducing it to the regular rate.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay, so let's just do this real quick. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, any abstain? Okay. Good. All right, request to rename KGB Field Dugouts to Pete Roman, okay,
Romanino?
there you go.
That's good.
So I know that there was some information in your packets about that. This, it seems to have the support of REC, right? I think
Yes.
Rec is in support of this. And I think the teams, I think, are in support of this. So it opens the council for debate. We either say yes or no to this.
I don't see why we wouldn't do it.
I don't either. But, well, it does set a precedent. you know.
Okay.
What we're doing is, and we did this with,
The bench.
we did it with the bench, we did it with, oh, I'm blanking on his name. The crossway in front of Cherry Hill.
Right.
Joe, thank you, Joe Majiri. So we're getting more of these. I think they're good things, but the council has to consider that the more we do this, the more likely we're going to get requests like this. And so we should, I personally feel that we should consider doing this because there's no one in opposition.
Right.
Rec is for it, and as far as I know, the teams are for it. And, and it doesn't place a burden upon the taxpayer, and it seems to be worthy of recognition, right? Do you want to come speak for the rec? Come up.
It's fine with us. It was a happy medium. They wanted to change the name of the field.
Say your name and street address.
Baxter, 864 Fifth Avenue.
Go ahead.
So they originally, he has done a lot for baseball. I'm not sure how much he did for River Edge, but they do feel that it would be nice to name KBG after him. That's what they wanted. Our happy medium was, we'll give you a dugout.
Okay.
Just for the same reason that, he wasn't central to
Right.
us in the community. He had the backing from one of the minor league baseball organizations, and those were the folks that reached out to us.
And if I'm not mistaken, the rec commission unanimously approved this?
We approved it for the dugout
For it to come before us?
to come before you, right, for the dugout, not for the
No.
renaming of the field, correct.
All right. So any questions? So I either need a motion and a second, or it dies on the table.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. It is open to debate. Is there debate? None? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstention? Okay, no opposed, no abstention. Great. Okay, so I need a motion and second to open for public comments on any item on the agenda, but it is on the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
You want to go?
My,
You got to say your name and address, sorry. Again, I know.
Debbie Bailey, Madison Avenue, River Edge, New Jersey. My comment is not on the agenda, so.
Oh, okay.
Will the council allow for general comments?
Sure.
Is there objection? Go ahead. Then wait, you don't have to wait to the end.
Okay, great.
I mean, if we had a council full, we'd have to say no, but it's just you two.
Thank you. I was very upset last night that our 9/11 memorial, September 11th memorial, was postponed to Tuesday. I feel that rain or shine, it was something that should have been done on September 11th.
Yeah.
September 11th is the anniversary, it's not September 12th.
Yeah.
Just going forward is like, if there's going to be if there's a baseball game, are you doing a rain delay? Are you canceling an activity, an outdoor activity because of the rain? I'm just very upset at the council for
So it wasn't the council's decision?
whoever canceled the September 11th memorial last night.
So Officer Zemenes and Fire Chief Caridi contacted me, and they were concerned about lightning and the weather. And they said that they thought that we might consider postponing it. If it was just going to be rain, but we thought there might be a chance of lightning, so for the safety of the public. Now, I know that at least, I'm not going to say which family, one of the families said today that they were grateful that actually it happened on the 12th because they've never been here before because they always go down to the site, and they were able to be here today. I hadn't thought about that, that by doing it on the 11th, the families go down to, the city to do that. It was simply a public safety. The only other option we could have done is brought it inside, which we could have done, but it ended up being my decision. So if you're mad at anybody, you should be mad at me. I had to make the call, and it appeared that was the right call at that time. But I get what you're saying. I very firmly believe that we should celebrate holidays on the holidays and not put them off. I know that President's Day for decades has not been on Lincoln and Washington's birthday, But no, I sympathize with your position, and I in general, that's how I feel too.
I'm just stating.
I'm glad you did. This is what it means to be in a democracy.
The anniversary was September 11th, and that's when it should have been celebrated, was September 11th and not September 12th. It's the 21st anniversary, and it was a time to have been celebrated, last night. It was not today.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you. I made the call based on the recommendations of, as I said, a police officer and the fire chief.
I mean, other municipalities, they all did it yesterday. The county did it yesterday.
Yeah. And we didn't end up having lightning anyway, and we didn't have the downpour that we thought there might be. So maybe it was a bad call, but it was the call I made at the time, and I apologize if it offended you because I understand where you're coming from. I really do. And I'm glad you brought it to the chambers because that's what it means in a democracy. Thanks, Debbie. Okay.
Baxter, 864 Fifth Avenue.
Thank you.
All I'm going to do is reiterate what
Sure.
Debbie said. I have 391 reasons to tell you why it should have been yesterday. I will tell you one. FDNY firefighter Mike Boyle. On my mother's anniversary, my mother and father, June 16, 2021, he was my last removal out of the New York City Medical Examiner on a recovery where they finally identified part of his remains. In the years that I've been in town, and as I've gotten active in things, we've always done the 9/11 memorial. When my kids started Cub Scouts, I made sure every kid in PAC 95 went to that memorial. We've done it every year. Today was the first time in 10 years that we missed it. We could not get leaders and we could not get the kids. And they were ready to roll yesterday. And I'm disappointed that rain is rain. If it was lightning, it could have been called when people were here. We have lightning detectors. It's just, I feel that, you don't celebrate something or honor something afterwards. And I don't know what the turnout was tonight, if it was
big.
large or
It was pretty big.
as big as it was in past years.
A little bit
But I
bigger.
think- all right, well, then that's good, but I still don't think it's.
Yeah, we made every effort to text, to call, to reach out to everyone. I get where you're coming from. I don't disagree with it. As I said during my comments at the ceremony tonight, I was teaching that day, and in my classroom was a young man, son of Mr. Clark. He went to when he came to school, he had a father, and when he went home, he didn't. And I went to the wake, and I didn't mention that my cousin Frank was in one of the buildings. He got out. Then he decided to go back in to help the firefighters get people out, got somebody else out, and then the second building collapsed, and he was thrown a block, and, he suffered greatly since then. We lost several people in River Edge. In school, what? I know, I just didn't want to make it a number. I didn't want to compete because they've lost several in Teaneck, and I teach in Teaneck. And then there are all the other towns. But it doesn't make a difference whether it's 5, 10, 15. Or a town that lost 0, everyone lost something. everyone was connected to it in some way. And whether it was one loss that you directly were connected to or not, doesn't matter. The number doesn't matter. It is the loss of our sense of safety, changes we had to go through, the heartache that it has, that it brought upon us, the 20-year war that we went through in Afghanistan to remove the Taliban, who were harboring the 19. So I get where you come from. I know it from personal experience, and I didn't lose anyone in my immediate family, but, you know, it is more than a national tragedy. It's a personal tragedy for so many. One of my best friends worked for the medical examiner, and he identified hundreds of the bodies. And he always saw it as a mission of mercy. He still works for the medical examiner's office. He's a forensic dentist. And so he felt it brought closure to the family. So I get where you're coming from. And I don't want to say that my loss is equal to your loss at all. That's why I don't want to mention numbers. I just simply want to say that everyone is mourning this day over and over again. When I was teaching my social studies class about this today, I still get emotional about it when I talk about it. You know? So I don't disagree with your comments. It was a call I made. Maybe it was a bad call. It seemed like the appropriate call at the time. And I apologize. Anything else?
That's it, we're good.
Okay, good. Could I have a motion to close to the public?
So moved. Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Appointments and personnel changes. I'm going to read them as a bulk, and then we'll get a motion in a second, and then we will have a roll call vote. Okay, approve the salary change of Dennis Griffith, Sergeant in the Police Department, from an annual salary of $156,808.4 to $159,767.05 due to an increase in longevity from 6% to 8% effective September 18, 2022. Approve the salary change of Zachariah Ham, police officer, from an annual salary of $91,447 to a patrol officer, 13th grade, salary of $100,907 effective September 6, 2022. Approve the resignation of Charles Hennon, I hope I said his name right, laborer in the Department of Public Works, effective August 15, 2022. Approve the resignation of Simon Kurvorik, summer help in the Department of Public Works, effective August 19, 2022. Approve the retirement of Jim Bounds, crossing guard, effective September 30th, 2022. Approve the resignation of Tybee Manzelli, accounts receivable clerk, effective September 29, 2022. Approve the hire of Hayden Hernandez as a temporary intern to provide assistance to the clerk's office by sorting and packaging files in preparation of the Borough Hall repair. It says renovation, but it's really repair, at the hourly rate of $13 up to 10 hours per week, effective September 15th through October 31st, 2022.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Council President Kaufman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen?
Yes.
Okay, first reading ordinance. Monthly reports. Yes, we have monthly reports, Land Use Board, Library Board of Trustees, Tax Collector. They are for July, August, September, and July, respectively, and they are on file for any member of the public who would like to come and inspect them from the clerk's office. First reading ordinance. Okay, could I have a motion that the following ordinance be introduced and passed on a first reading and setting September 29, 2022 at 7 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be heard, as a date and time, and the council chambers, that would be in the council chambers, of the River Edge Municipal Building as a place for the hearing of said ordinance. Ordinance 2022-14, an ordinance to fix the salary, wages, and compensation of the employees of the Department of Public Works, represented by Local 125 International Brotherhood of Teamsters Blue Collar Unit for the years 2022 through 2027. Could I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, this is open for debate, but before we open it to debate, if Ms. Apertola, if you could simply give an abstract.
This is a salary ordinance affecting the members of the DPW, Department of Public Works, who are the unionized employees. And the salary ordinance reflects each year for the term of the contract what the increases would be by title and the compensation per step.
Okay, so it's open for debate. Is there debate? Hearing none, roll call.
Council President Kaufman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen?
Yes.
Okay, then this will come before the council for a second reading. At that time, it will open to the public, and the public may ask questions prior to a vote. Second reading ordinance. The following ordinance published herewith were first read by title only on August 1st, 2022, and posted on the bulletin board outside the clerk's office. Ordinance 2022-12, an ordinance to fix the salary, wages, and compensation of the officers and employees of the Borough of River Edge in the County of Bergen in the State of New Jersey for the year 2022. I would like a first and a second to open to the public.
So moved. Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Ms. Apertola, if you would give a synopsis.
This ordinance establishes a salary range for the full-time position of accounts payable clerk, and it amends the salary range for a deputy coordinator for the Office of Emergency Management.
Okay. So there is no one in the public present right now, so we cannot get comment. So could I have a motion and second to close to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstention? Okay, so could I have a motion for adoption?
So moved. Second.
It has been moved and seconded. It is open for debate. Is there debate? Hearing none, roll call.
Council President Kaufman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen?
Yes.
Okay, in a moment, could I have a motion and second to open to the public for ordinance 22-13, an ordinance to amend Chapter 65 of the revised general ordinance of the Borough of River Edge entitled Officers and Employee. This is, of course, the second reading.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstaining? Before there is no one in the public, but our procedure is to have a synopsis. If Ms. Apertola, could you please give us an abstract or a synopsis of what this achieves?
This ordinance is to codify the position of the Director of the Office of Emergency Management, what the rules pertaining to the position, the duties, and the expectations.
Okay, since there is no one in the public present, I would ask for a motion to close to the public.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstention? Hearing none, we move to adoption. Can I have a motion to adopt ordinance 22-13 as a second reading?
So moved. Second.
Okay, this is open for debate. Is there debate? Hearing none, roll call.
Council President Kaufman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen?
Yes.
Okay, we're now up to resolutions by consent. I'm going to move them as a block, but please take note the resolution 22-257 is being moved as amended. So could I have a motion to move 22-249 through 22-271?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any debate, comment, or question? Hearing none, roll call.
Council President Kaufman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen?
Yes.
Could I have the Finance Chair, Council President Kaufman, please move 22-272, payment of the bills?
Yes, at a regular meeting of the Mayor and Council of the Borough of River Edge, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, held on September 12, 2022, be it resolved that the Mayor and Council of the Borough of River Edge approve the following expenditures. Current fund, $2,488,150.45. Capital fund, $158,236.93. Grant fund, $888.12. Animal control fund, $14.40. Trust other fund, $3,367.10. Payroll fund, $16,082.56. Developers escrow fund, $6,015. Self-insurance trust fund, $60,731.91. Recreation fund, $6,152.56. So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please. Oh, I'm sorry. No, this is payment of the bills. It's not open for debate. Roll call, please.
Council President Kaufman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen?
Yes.
Okay, new business. Is there any new business? So this may not technically be new business, but I wanted to state for the public record that that the Borough Hall will be shut down as of October. Do we have an actual date?
Not yet. We're going out to bid. We will start with the help of the intern, clear out some of the office space in the clerk's office and some records for storage, some for destruction upon receiving approval from the state. So, and then we'll have work done across the street for the parking lot. So it will be sometime towards the later portion of October.
But because we need to store stuff that's being moved out of the clerk's office and the business administrator's office, we will not be able to have any meetings in October in this room. Is that correct?
That is correct, as well as the courtroom. We will be moving some of their files over to the courtroom, and the building department and health department will be occupying the building at 10 River Edge Road. And the shade tree materials, the DPW director will store off-site
Okay.
securely.
And where will yourself and the clerk be working from?
We will be working remotely and meeting with residents by appointment, and we will do so either in the courtroom, which will be, the land use officer will be working remotely, but also there. And in the event there's a conflict, we will work with the library director for meeting space as well.
Okay. Now, the space, the meeting room on the second floor of the public safety building,
That will be occupied by the finance department, although they fall under Building B, which is right below us, based on all the activity and construction, demolition. There could be dust or whatnot that will make the condition a little bit difficult for the employees, so it's just better to move them further away from the active construction site.
okay. So we have described where the nurse's office is going. We've described where the land use board is going, the building department's going, the clerk's office going, the finance department's going, and the BA's office. Have we missed anyone?
No, and I will be purchasing a large drop box for people who want to drop off any payments, because like we have a box outside for the tax department. However, if this is going to be an active construction area, and also as a GIF fund commissioner, I don't think it would be prudent for having people to drop off items where construction is going to happen. So we'll have a secure box in the library, which will be large enough for whether it's a letter or a parcel to be dropped off for any of the departments.
Okay. So, so the reason I'm bringing this up, other than, of course, it's about to occur, is that our next council meeting is a Thursday, not a Monday.
Right.
And it's September 29th. And for the public's benefit, the reason why we're doing that is we have Rosh Hashanah on Monday when we normally have it, but Rosh Hashanah is Monday and Tuesday. So, and Wednesday, it has already been noticed for Land Use Board, and so they're going to be in this room. Now, the Land Use Board is also going to go remote, correct?
That is correct, and they don't have any meetings noticed for October just yet.
Okay. Now, the Shade Tree Commission has their own building, but the Rec Commission and the other committees, they're going to be meeting remotely?
Yes, as well as the Shade Tree Commission, because that building will be occupied for Building Department, Health Department, to meet with residents and contractors and whatever other activities, because permits
That's right.
are very time-sensitive statutorily.
Okay, and we're going to have signage so that people know where to find everyone.
Yes, we'll have signage, we will put out a Nixle alert, and in everybody's tax bills that will be in the mail soon, there is a blurb about the repair project, and that we will be notifying residents as we approach dates sooner.
So as stated, our next council meeting is Thursday the 29th due to a religious holiday and a prior commitment by notification to the public of the Land Use Board. And that will be the last meeting of the Land Use Board in this building. But here's the thing, I will not be present. And I wanted to make sure the public understood that the reason why I will not be present for the last meeting, Council President Kaufman will take the meeting. Is because as a public school teacher, it is back to school night, and I am contractually obligated to be there. So, so I didn't want the public to think I took it light that I was not going to be here. And if I could ask Council President Kaufman to have the exact same conversation we're having right now, going through each portion and step.
Sure.
So that
Everyone's
we have
aware.
a second copy for any, second speaking, if anyone's still in the council chambers, but more importantly, a second copy of this conversation to be part of the video and the written record.
Okay, I will do that.
All right, and that's why I called it new business instead of old business. So that was my request. Okay, we have old business, and our first item is the girls' softball field. Who put this on?
It's
just
on every week from
Okay.
now on.
So the Rec Commission will be meeting
On Wednesday.
on Wednesday to with the stakeholders. They didn't want to meet during August because they wanted to make sure they did not exclude anyone. People were on vacation. Do you want to speak to any more of that?
No, just there's no update yet until obviously after the meeting, and Mayor Papaleo did specify that whatever they decide is needed will be what we pretty much fight for, and hopefully they can get all the entities together and we can agree on something feasible for the girls. And so once that meeting is held, we can get the minutes done and disperse to everyone so they know what the update is.
And I can report that that members of the Board of Education, as well as the superintendent, have expressed positive feelings towards moving forward with this. I'm not committing them to anything. I'm just simply saying that we've had preliminary discussions that aren't going anywhere because we're waiting for the Recreation Committee. And they're just checking in with me saying, where are we? And I said, well, we're waiting for Rec. And so, and they understand that, and they're in support of waiting for Recreation Committee and all of the stakeholders, including Save Our Parks. Okay. Update on construction projects.
Okay, it's a doozy.
It is.
Let me start off with Voorhees Avenue. I had notified the governing body, but for the public's edification, we had the bid opening on last Thursday on September 8th. And the bids, the lowest bidder came in about $664,000 over what we have budgeted. And that is just the base bid. Alternate A involved a substitution that, when comparing the figures, is not worth substituting that component of the bid. And alternate B was for additional storm inlets, manhole, and stream cleaning. So if the governing body wanted to incorporate alternate B, then the difference goes from $664,000 to over $900,000 from what we had budgeted. If the lowest bidder is found non-compliant, because it's not just figures but also documentation, that's why it's called the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, then we would move on to the second lowest bidder, and the third lowest bidder was over $2 million. That being said, even if, let's say, we had this extra cash on hand, and it's not as easy as that, but if it came in within bid projections, within budget estimates. PSC&G, there are conflicts on some of the locations, so that utility has to do work. Veolia has some work also to do on the site, and we're required to have test pits performed. So the utilities have to do their work first before we put a shovel to the ground. And in the meantime, we would have to award, the contractor would have to sign the contracts, get the insurance in place, performance bonds in place, and mobilize. That leads us the soonest around Thanksgiving, and with the frost, you cannot dig. You cannot commence any type of construction work. So the soonest this project can start, if the governing body wants to go with either the base or the alternate and go through the process of securing the additional financing, would be, weather permitting, sometime in April. So you could go through that or try to go out to reject this bid and go out to bid again and see how the bids come in. And if it's still over budgeted estimates, then under the local public contracts law, if you go out to bid twice and it's rejected twice, you can negotiate and try to bring down the price. And the negotiation would be with all the contractors who submitted at the second go-around. So, and the clock has started. We have to make a decision before November 8th, whether we're rejecting and rebidding or awarding.
So you're not looking for the council to make a decision now? You're simply informing us that we'll be making a decision at the next meeting, or you're looking for the council to make a decision now?
To start
Because
the
we don't-
start the discussion conceptually, but this would have to happen when we have a full complement.
I would think so. And we need Ms. Jocasta here to talk about the options and whether an extra $300,000 is in the public's benefit or not. So if we could put that on, I will not be here, but the council will be here. And
Sorry, Mayor,
as
is it an extra 300,000 or 600?
300,000 goes 600 to 900,000.
Whether to work with the base or work with the alternate.
Alternate, okay.
In consideration.
But it's, okay, all right.
So it's either an extra 600 or an extra 900, which is a difference of 300,000.
Got it, okay.
Now, have anyone in your office reached out to the people of Voorhees?
No.
All right, so we need to do that. And that was, who was that? That was you?
Myself, you, and Michelle.
Right. So we need to do that
Okay,
soon.
okay,
Okay, so let's talk privately about that, okay? Okay.
Okay. Next is our 2022 Riverside Cooperative Contract Agreement, which is the repaving of various roads. We are in closeout status, and one of the punch list items involved an area at Beach Drive North that there was a ponding issue. The borough engineer, project manager, and contractor initially discussed the situation on how to remedy it, and the initial remedy was to infrared, and if that didn't work, then consider installing a seepage pit, a seepage inlet, or milling and paving again. With yesterday's rain, there was ponding. The project manager went out there and spoke with the contractor, but before looking at option B or C, what we're doing now is doing a test of the asphalt, just to make sure the issue is not the product. Because if there is any problem with the product that was laid, then yes, the street would have to be completely milled and paved, not just that portion. So we have to wait to what those test results are. I just earlier today for this and the train station parking lot signed off on a proposal with a purchase order. So that work will start next week, the testing. And then once we have the results, we'll have a better indication of what has to happen next to rectify this issue.
Okay.
So that's with Riverside.
Just, if I'm not mistaken, infrareding means to heat the street up so that it can be retexturized.
Yes, and puts a layer as opposed to just filling in a pothole. It does it in a nice square manner that doesn't create any
And then,
traffic issues.
and the infrared causes a bonding between what we're putting on and what was underneath.
Correct.
Is that, and if I may have, the results you're presenting right now, was it as of this morning?
I'm sorry?
They were there this morning.
Late morning, early
Yeah,
afternoon.
no, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how soon will the testing be done, you know?
Next week.
Oh, okay. The results?
The results, I don't know. It depends what the core samples show, and if there's something like inconclusive, they may have to take more samples.
Okay.
But this is a process that is mandatory with DOT projects funded by the Department of Transportation. So it's not something that stays in the queue for weeks or months on end.
Okay, thanks.
With our ADA ramps, the 2021 ramps that project is ready to be closed out. And with our 2022 ramps, that will be completed by early next week. And then a phase of that is the repaving of the parking lot to Borough Hall. Right at Company 1, there is some sidewalk work to be done, and the parking lot will be milled and paved. So during the time being, that parking lot cannot be used by whether it's employees or the public, but once we are closer, we will send out a notification, post on the website, because the police department will have to allow for temporary parking here along Tenny for the employees at least. So that's where we go with the ramps. As I had mentioned, the train station parking lot will also undergo that asphalt core testing. So that project is still open until we find out what's going on with that. Bogut Road, Section 5 and 6. This is a project in which we received grants from the Department of Transportation, and one of the resolutions we approved tonight is to authorize going out to bid. So that will be in early October. And along on that date of October 4th, another resolution on for tonight was to authorize receipt of bids for the rectangular rapid flashing beacons, the flashers. So that's also underway. On tonight's agenda, we awarded a contract for the Community Development Block Grant Program grant project for repairs to sidewalks and ADA ramps on Reservoir. And we will start scheduling a pre-construction meeting with the contractor, and we need to also have the county representative for that program in attendance. So hopefully for the next meeting, I'll have a tentative project schedule for that. Also on tonight's meeting, a lot of resolutions, a lot of capital work. There was a final payment for an emergency repair on Kinderkamak Road for a sewer repair that happened during the holidays. The work was done, but the restoration had to take place after the product had settled. And with the Oak Ditch emergency repair, phase 1 is near completion, and that started last Wednesday on the 7th. The timeline for the project to be completed is approximately 4 weeks, weather permitting. And the last item is not an active project, but the Oradell mayor reached out last month with their grant writer, Millennium Strategies, and advised them of an opportunity for technical assistance from the Department of Environmental Protection. New Milford also uses this firm, and last month, a couple of weeks ago, I had spoken to the grant writer, and this is a joint application. It is not to receive money directly, but it is a joint application as a regional application to the DEP for technical assistance for planning in regards to stormwater management and climate change. It's called the New Jersey Resiliency Grant. And by submitting a regional application, all it is a letter of interest, and by joining together with our neighboring municipalities, it gives greater weight to the letter of interest. And when I spoke to the grant writer, I explained what happened because of Ida to our fire company, to KBG, what happened to KBG in April with that freak rainstorm, as well as the Issues Memorial Park. So, and I also explained based on my commuting to River Edge, what I have seen in New Milford through these storms. So a meeting is scheduled for this Wednesday with myself, representatives of Oradell and New Milford. So I hope to have more information because this letter of interest is due to the state by the end of September.
Do we need to take any action?
With this, no, not right now.
Okay.
Right now, it's still in exploratory phase.
So sorry, Lizette, is it just to explain what the situation is within towns?
Yes, it's to provide technical assistance, and I'm going to provide funding, and then that, I'll know more after Wednesday, but that technical assistance can either be a springboard for future grants, whether at the state or federal level, or what we may need to have as part of our stormwater management plan or our master plan. So stay tuned.
Okay.
Can I have a copy of that or that?
This part?
Yeah, no, the whole sheet.
Oh, yeah.
So that when we
Sure.
talk, we have
The Voorhees
just the
part?
Voorhees.
Yeah.
Okay. So okay. Questions, comments? Any other old business? Yeah. It's a lot. There's a lot ahead of us.
Yes.
There's a lot ahead of us. But I commend this council for being diligent and for being practical in everything we're trying to do. And I appreciate it. Okay. So we have to open to the public, even though there's no one here. Could I have a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There's no one here, so could I have a motion to close to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so comments. So we had two wonderful officers receiving commendations, but we get letters on a pretty regular basis from our officers. And I just want to read into the record some of that. This is from a resident in Oradell. It was Chief Walker. Chief Walker, this is to let you know that I'm so appreciative when Officer Goes and Pizzanelli helped me yesterday. I got a bad flat yesterday and was forced to pull over on Kincomac Road. It was extremely hot outside, and Officer Pizzanelli and Goes made sure my car stayed safe from oncoming traffic. They changed the tire for the spare in the brutal summer heat. They are the best. So wow.
Yeah.
This is what we call community policing, and it should be noted. So Chief Walker said of them, Officer Goes and Pizzanelli are examples of the direction the department has been headed, to not just protect and assist residents and those who pass through the borough, but sometimes to go the further step when they can change a tire. The officers are now required to change tires. They did it because that's who they are. They can't always do it, but wow, so amazing. And I have one other, I think, from the chief. This is, yes. This is, okay, here it is. So another resident said, just sending a big thank you to the officers who responded on Thursday to my 6-year-old son after a dog bit him on the face. They responded immediately, kept me calm. The EMTs were fantastic. Grateful to have you all. It will be okay. Of course, I can't remember the names of the officers, but what they saw was pretty gnarly, said the mother, and I'm happy to say they were there to help to fix him, she put in quotation marks. I have a picture. I'm not going to share the picture, but it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. Okay. I have another one. And I believe that was Officer Roman and Officer Colucci and Officer Pizzanelli who responded. Okay. This is from another resident who lives, actually a business from Hackensack. Would just like to let you know that I called in for an accident report this morning. Oh, this was for Debbie Aiello, who is the chief's secretary. Promptly called me back and could not be more polite. She emailed to the report to me in a few minutes. Although my interaction with Debbie was short, she came across as a very conscientious employee and a pleasure. And this was from Eastern Datacom in Hackensack. So another example. This one's from about Officer Sanchez. Dear Chief, and this was from the River Edge Cultural Center. I just want to thank you on behalf of the River Edge Cultural Center for the very informative program organized by the police department at the library on the 18th on identity theft. I had spoken to Detective Sanchez about the River Edge Police Department doing a program, and it goes on for a while. And also they commend Detective McGintley and the Bergen County for that, and that was wonderful. This is also Officer Sanchez. Just wanted to take a moment to thank you for your assistance with my investigation. You went well above and beyond expectation. To include video of the interview you conducted with the individual is over the top. In my 5 or 6 years working fraud, I have never received the degree of follow-up on one of these requests as you had put in. And this is from Tom Leary, who is from the Polk County Sheriff's Department. So that was wonderful. This is for Officer Duran. Oh boy, these get harder and harder to read. Sorry. I was just at the CVS this morning, and this was, I don't know exactly when this was, and Officer Duran was helping an older woman who had fallen. Instead of just standing by her, he sat down to keep her company while waiting for the ambulance. I was very touched by this kind gesture. I am sure his sitting down with her made her feel more comfortable. Amazing. I know these are long, but these are just two wonderful. This is the last one. This is Sergeant Abadi. Okay. Chief Walker, I'd like to commend the officer who was responding to my emergency at 3:45 a.m. this morning. Unfortunately, I do not know his name. He was very calm and reassuring while we waited for the ambulance. He engaged us in conversation that helped relieve my anxiety. And these were two residents in town. Of course, I won't read their name or their address. Just a demonstration of what a great job our police department does always. And we have to thank Officer Zemenes, Lieutenant Staros, and Chief Caridi, Fire Chief Caridi, and Assistant Fire Chief Schralenberg, as well as our other officers and firefighters and the ambulance corps who came, and the Boy Scouts and others who came to our 9/11 today and participated and helped put it together and made it a bit of a holy, a reassuring and comforting experience. So we really appreciate it. And Pastor Sweet, who gave a wonderful invocation. All right. Any comments from the council? So here we are. Could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Yes, that always goes over well. Thank everyone. I have some papers to sign. I wish you well.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.